Welcome to the Hershey Podcast with January and Brandon. I am January.
Does that mean I'm Brandon?
Yes.
So that means I can go to the bathroom 6 times a day for 45 minutes at a time with my phone.
No, the rules have changed.
Oh, it's like that?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, but I'm not approving of this change because I prefer to keep the boobs then.
Okay. Well,
all right.
I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be back in a little bit.
Oh, you guys, thanks for listening. This is our 4th podcast.
Number 4.
Yeah, and I have received so much feedback from the last podcast, number 3, about expectations. Many of you have sent me snaps on my Snapchat or left comments on our Instagrams and Facebook, and I've received a lot of DMs as well, direct messages, just about the solidarity, just letting me know that I'm not the only one that's gone through that, and it's nice to hear when somebody else has had to deal with their own or others' expectations on them, especially when it comes to parenting, but just overall too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The episode was very popular with people last week.
Yeah, it was great.
And it's a lot of fun for us to do. And we're very excited and grateful for everyone's interest and downloads. And we actually got up to number 74 in the comedy podcasts on iTunes.
That was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. Cracking the top 100.
That was really fun. Yeah, that's really neat.
Pretty awesome.
Speaking of expectations, though, I did a post in my Instagram story last night, and I put it on my Snapchat as well. After laying our youngest, we still call her the baby, but our youngest, she's now almost 2.5. I put her to bed last night, and she likes to lay there under her covers with her passy and hold our hand while she falls asleep. And I did a post and just put on there, if you didn't see it, it said that every single nap time and every single bedtime of her entire life, she's had someone who loves her lay her down to sleep, and that she's loved, and that's all that matters. And I received a lot of messages after sharing this from, well, mostly women, moms, who were explaining to me that their family gives them a lot of crap, basically, about how they raise their little ones and how they're going to spoil them and how they are creating future problems. And even one person said that, you know, she has another baby on the way and her family keeps telling her how they're just going to make it harder on themselves. And my response to all this is, first of all, it's no one's damn business. And second of all, this isn't supposed to always be easy. I think this concept that parenting is always supposed to be easy is where we get ourselves in a lot of frustration. So any of you who are doing things different than how your family suggests and you're instinctually parenting, I just want to tell you that you're doing an amazing job. You are amazing. And it does not matter what anyone else thinks. If you're listening to your instincts when you're parenting, that is the most important thing. And the more podcasts we do on mental health too, this will come up a lot about attachment. There's nothing wrong with it. I know that attachment parenting became kind of a trendy, I guess, title for a while, but
a little bit, yeah.
There really is something to that, and just letting your children know that you're always there for them and not expecting them to parent themselves even at nighttime. I know it's frustrating. I know it's exhausting, but if you're doing what you feel is right in your gut, keep following that. If something feels wrong in your gut, then change it. But you're doing great.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
What I wanted to say about that, I basically am telling you that it's okay. That's my coffee you're hearing. You hear that? That's coffee cubes. Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But basically, I'm telling you to raise the middle fingers to anyone telling you that you're not doing a great job when you know that you are. You really are.
Yeah. And bedtime is a great time to pop in the headphones and listen to the Hershey podcast. So
yeah, you actually do that a lot. When you lay her down,
I do
take headphones in and you listen to podcasts, don't you?
I do listen to quite a few podcasts, and that's actually a perfect time to do it. I like to do them, listen to podcasts when I go on morning walks a few times a week, where I take a long 3-mile walk in humid Austin summer weather right now.
What are your top 3 favorite podcasts right now? Because I'm not a podcaster. Like the Hershey podcast is my first podcast experience. So you are. So what are your top 3 favorite right now?
I'm digging Joe Rogan lately.
Yeah.
He's always kind of liked him though. I don't know if many people remember him being the host of Fear Factor.
That's all I remember him as.
Yeah, I remember watching that back in the day. Him getting people to eat the maggoty cheese. I literally felt my dinner coming up that night when we watched it. It was so gross. But yeah, I like Joe Rogan. I like Chris Jericho. For you wrestling fans out there, you know who Chris Jericho is. He has a pretty awesome podcast. He does interviews with wrestlers, athletes, musicians, everyone. So that's a pretty fun one to listen to. I like Mark Bell's Powercast. Mark Smelly Bell, he's a power lifter. Tim Ferriss has a good one.
Okay, that's
Tim
4.
Ferriss show. Let's see. Another 5 or 6 that I like.
No, that's enough. That's good. But you know, removing that expectation that it has to be like this boring, hard time. Mm-hmm. I read a book on my Kindle app when I'm laying her down, and I put it on the black screen on the back and dim it really low, and I can just read while I lay there and she holds my hand. Or I just turn it off and I just lay there and think and rest. But I don't get on social media. That is something I do not do when I'm laying her down.
I do sometimes, so.
The screen's too bright. I think that's why it takes her longer to fall asleep with you than me.
I turn on the lowest setting and I put the little night shift on. And
it's still too bright.
Lean it over the side
bright
of the floor with my head hanging over the side and while I'm listening to a podcast. But I'm not ADD, I promise.
Yeah,
or
right?
ADHD.
I think we all are at this point with social media.
Actually, if I grew up in this day and age, I guarantee you I'd be diagnosed ADHD. I always have to be doing something.
All the things.
Yeah.
It's harder to slow our brains down.
Oh, yeah.
I remember laying the older kids down to sleep the same way we do her. And there wasn't social media apps to pop on an iPhone. I really just had to lay there and, think.
Yeah. Back in the day, we just laid them down and accidentally fell asleep on our own.
I know. Imagine that. Rested more and
who would have thunk?
Processed more.
I do that when I lay her down for a nap during the day.
Yeah.
I'll actually pretty often I'll fall asleep with her.
A lot of dads do that. A lot of the photos on Don't Forget Dads are of dads sleeping because they're smart and they fall asleep with their little ones.
Hey, naps are actually a necessity for humans. Afternoon naps. And I'm not talking about a 2 or 3 hour nap. All you need is 10, 15, 20 minutes and you're recharged until you go to sleep that night. I actually just took one a little bit ago and you took a pretty unflattering picture of me. My mouth hanging open.
You may see it on my Instagram, January Hershey, in my story. You're welcome.
Curse you. Blast.
And when you can't get enough sleep, there's coffee. I want to talk about coffee today.
Coffee.
I'm actually drinking a coffee right now. I'll post a picture of it when we share the podcast. But coffee is something that any of you who follow me, you know that it's basically like a sister wife kind of situation happening. I depend on her a lot. And I actually have an interesting history with coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was younger, I didn't really like it. Unlike Miss New York, she's a coffee fiend, which does not surprise me. But she waits every morning to have her coffee with me. I think it's adorable. But again, with the expectations in parenting, if anyone wants to judge me for that, I don't care. So, but coffee, I didn't really like it when I was younger. It had to have all the sugar, and whatnot in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we became Mormon. How old were we? 24? 23?
4, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And with the word of wisdom and the Mormon faith, it's no hot drinks, but coffee is included in that. And it's a big no to drink coffee. So I did not have coffee for 6, 7, 8 years. I don't even know when in there. I want to say quite a few years.
8 years, I'd say.
Yeah, I didn't have coffee for a very long time. And I was with my sister in Arizona, and we were at the play place in the mall. And she said, I'm going over to Starbucks. What do you want? And I was like, oh, I don't drink coffee, And she said, and my family's not Mormon, right? So she said, I'm going to Starbucks January. What do you want? And all it took was her asking twice. And I said, a venti caramel frappuccino, please. Extra whip, extra caramel. And
you were easily swayed by.
Yeah. So she came back with the coffee and I drank it, of course. And I felt amazing. I couldn't believe how happy I felt and how much more energy I had. And I don't think I realized quite where my postpartum depression, where it was until I had this coffee and I felt better. And it made me realize, whoa, my normal is not what I thought it was. So I had coffee for a little bit, not much because we were still Mormon. And then we had our fifth, the bull. And my postpartum depression with him was really bad.
Yeah.
And so I remember that experience having coffee with my sister and how it made me feel better. So I started drinking coffee while we were still very active in the Mormon church. And again, was a big no-no. But I didn't care because it made me feel better. And if I could drink a coffee in the morning and feel better and be able to cope with having 5 children and all of their needs, and that's all it took was a cup or 2 of coffee, then why the heck would I not do that? So I did. And, I actually did get sat down with our branch president at the time about my coffee drinking because we lived in a small Texas town and my favorite place in town was the coffee shop. And we sat down and had a discussion about it. And I made it very clear that I was going to continue drinking coffee. And he was like, okay, cool. Because it was not a big problem. It was a small thing really in the grand scheme of things. And that's also when I started to learn to be more unapologetically myself, despite what rules or boundaries or judgments were being put on or were around me, even if they weren't putting directly on me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I started drinking coffee then. And so I'm a little defensive for coffee. Like I defend her, I have to have her back because she helped me through some really hard postpartums. I did start drinking too much coffee, I'll say, and getting pregnant with my 6th helped me obviously tone that down. And then I did drink coffee a little bit in my pregnancy. The first few months or first half of my pregnancy, not much, you got to listen to your body. And if I would have a little bit and I wasn't feeling it, I knew that I just wasn't supposed to have much. And then, in the last trimester, I started feeling like I could have a little more coffee. And I shared a photo of me with my coffee on Birth Without Fear. This is before I did January Hershey Instagram a lot. And I shared it on Birth Without Fear because I was pregnant with my baby bump. I had my coffee. I was out with a girlfriend and it was really sweet. And it turned into a huge debate on Birth Without Fear about me drinking coffee while I was pregnant and how I didn't care about my baby and I was going to kill my baby and that I was being an irresponsible woman. And then, of course, people were defending me because they knew this was my 6th baby. And come on, this is not something to tear a woman down about on social media. Well, some people wouldn't stop, and so they got blocked. And I ended up on a revenge website, which that shall not be named. And it was really awful, all because of coffee, because I had some coffee while I was pregnant. I mean, we had to get lawyers involved. And
we did.
Yeah.
And
it was a really horrible experience.
Yeah. I had people messaging me on Facebook and basically they said you had an affair and that the baby wasn't mine. So all these people were messaging me on Facebook and say, hey, did you know the baby wasn't yours? It's like, oh, okay. Thanks for the heads up. You don't even know me or my wife. I'm glad you know more about her than I do.
What's really funny? And I remember telling you at the time, like, if somebody's going to just slander me, that is the last thing they should pick because it's so unbelievable. It was.
What should they pick?
I know I could give you plenty of other of my flaws that would actually stick longer. Yeah. But photos were stolen. A story was made up. And as soon as we got attorneys involved, it was all taken down because it was all fabricated. And
I will say, though, we had cause to go after them further.
We did.
And you were pregnant and focused on having the baby. And so you weren't in the space to pursue that.
No, it made my anxiety horrible.
It did. Yeah. And if for some reason that person happens to hear this podcast, just know that January saved you from me and the lawyer because we were
Yeah.
ready to go after your jugular.
Yeah, our lawyer was too. Our lawyer was like, he said he
Yeah.
didn't care it was taken down. He still wanted to go after them.
Yeah. It's down. So that's
yeah,
the main
but
story.
this is all because of coffee, right?
Coffee.
And social media, of course.
You just followed the word of wisdom.
I know.
Not been a heathen.
It's because I was a sinner. Like, I totally caused this whole thing because I'm a sinner.
You damn sinner.
I know, but you know what? It's fun.
I know, seriously. Shinedown, the band Shinedown has a great song called Sin with a Grin.
That's right.
I always love
So,
that title.
yeah, so I have quite a history with coffee. And then when I went vegan, that was a big topic because something I loved in my coffee, of course, was half and half.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's right. Yeah, I do.
I might have, and by might have, I mean I totally 1000% did shed many tears over the fact that I had to give up half and half of my coffee. So I was a little dramatic about it. A little.
And by a little, you mean a lot.
And I had to make coffee cubes, and I had to make coffee, and I had to get vegan whipped cream, and I had to get all the vegan creamers and try them all. And it was like this production every morning for weeks that I got my coffee the way I wanted it to.
Yeah. That was around the time I started making the cold brew, too.
And that was around the time you started making the cold brew.
Mm-hmm.
You actually wrote a post about it. Yeah.
On JanuaryHarshey.com.
Yeah, we'll put it on Harshey.blog.
Yeah.
You want to put it on there? Okay, so if you are looking for how to make cold brew, which is super easy, it's super simple.
Yeah, it's very simple.
But Brandon wrote a really cute post about his mom and her love of coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What would she say to you?
Well, my mom was French, and she didn't come to the States until she was 21, but she always had to have her coffee. I remember going with her to the store when we were a kid, go to Safeway most of the time, and she had to grind it up and put it in the bag, and she'd wake up every morning and have to make her coffee. And so, just how your kids do to you, my brother and I, we started in on her the minute she got up and asked her questions and pestered her and that sort of thing. And her line was, "Don't talk to me until I've had my coffee." And so she had this French accent, so instead of coffee, it was cafe. Cafe. And she said a lot of things funny, but that was one of them. But, "Don't talk to me until I've had my coffee."
And now I can completely relate to how she felt.
"Don't talk to me until Sally Jesse Raphael is over." Yeah, she'd drink her coffee, watch Sally Jesse Raphael.
Oh my gosh.
Sometimes Jerry Springer, because I was on during the day back then.
All of the 80s kids listening to this are like, yes.
Yeah.
Don't forget about Phil Donahue.
Oh, she did watch Donahue, yeah.
Was it Phil?
Phil Donahue,
Yeah,
yeah. Well,
okay.
it was just Donahue at the
Donahue.
time.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, I watched my fair share of Donahue as a kid. So
And Oprah was very different back then,
yeah,
right?
Oprah
So there was Oprah,
different.
Sally, and Donahue. Those were the
Yeah,
big.
a little bit of Jerry Springer sprinkled in there. But she would make a whole pot of coffee and
Yeah.
literally drink the entire thing.
My dad did that too.
So crazy.
Yeah.
If I did that now, I think I might explode
You
from
wouldn't sleep.
caffeine. Yeah, I wouldn't sleep for 2 days.
Wouldn't even need to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad did the same thing. So now I just make coffee and put in almond milk and move on with my life.
Very simple.
Yeah, but this week I did have a change with my coffee. I usually do almond milk and raw sugar, and I have been cutting way back on my sugar intake. So I now put in a little bit of raw stevia. Just a little bit, half packet. That's all I can handle. Yeah. So coffee is one of my best friends, and she doesn't ever fail me, and she doesn't judge me. She doesn't stab me in the back. She just takes care of me. She's understanding, all 24/7, completely understanding. If it's the afternoon and I just need a little shoulder to lean on, I have coffee. If it's in the morning and I haven't slept well, I have coffee. If I have postpartum depression, coffee's like, I got you, girl. If it's at nighttime and I need to just wind down, warm coffee totally understands and gets me and is going to help me accomplish that.
Which blows my mind.
I know you don't understand it.
I have a warm cup of coffee at night, and I'll still be awake 6 in the morning.
She's got my back. Yeah, coffee's got my back. So yeah, and speaking of the no sugar thing, so I haven't done a post about it or anything, but I've mentioned it a few times here and there. But I stopped drinking alcohol 6.5 weeks ago. The reason is really simple. I was just drinking too much. I was turning to it during witching hours every single day. And it was wine. And wine is totally socially acceptable, right? Oh, we're going to have a glass of wine. Oh, I'm sophisticated. I'm going to have a white. I'm going to have a red. Whatever. Depends what you're eating. Oh, you're eating this? This wine will complement it perfectly. So it's just, there was always an excuse to have wine. Oh, I'm traveling. I'm tired. I need a glass of wine. Oh, I'm getting an airplane. I hate to fly. I'm going to have a glass of wine. The kids are driving me crazy. I'm going to have a glass of wine. My husband's driving me crazy. I'm going to have a glass of wine. There was always something. And it got to the point where I was having wine every day. And then in the morning I'd wake up and I feel just not as good. And I'm not a one and done kind of girl. I can't just do one glass. So it would turn into 2 and 3 and 4, which, is a bottle. And when I recognized that feeling of being disappointed the next day that I had wine, I knew it was something I needed to just stop. And I'm an all or nothing kind of person. So that's what I did. And that was 6.5 weeks ago. And, it's actually been hard, and I've never struggled with this before. If I were to say I had any kind of addiction, it'd probably be food. But other than that, I haven't struggled with addictions. But it became so habitual. It started becoming habitual. And so I cut out alcohol. I haven't had any alcohol at all in 6.5 weeks. And I've been a little bit more relaxed on my diet and other drinks because, that's a big step. And so now after 6 weeks, I'm like, okay, time to not have a whole loaf of bread every day, French bread or Coca-Cola or whatever it is that I'm finding to replace that comfort I'm needing. But this is day 4 of cutting back on sugar and cleaning my diet up again. I might have a little bit of a twitch going on because I'm like not knowing how to cope. But I'm sober and coffee's got my back. And I think my body is kind of freaking out that I'm not giving it a lot of sugar. Really, it's it's so addicting. And even if I'm mentally not wanting it, I think physically my body is like, whoa, lady, what the heck? Why are you not feeding us the sugar anymore?
Yeah. Well, you stop drinking. And when you stop drinking alcohol is basically just sugar fermented.
I know.
So you replace it with sugar, and now you're not having sugar. And so, your body's, got to deal with the new change again. But sugar can actually be pretty destructive on the human body. And
so good.
The whole low fat thing we see everywhere. It's kind of becoming, it's on its way out, becoming obsolete. But low fat doesn't mean healthy. It just means high sugar.
I know, it's so good.
If you see anything as low fat, run away.
Right.
Get
like packaged
get
foods.
the regular one because the low fat version is always going to have more sugar.
Well, and I do eat lower fat because of my gallbladder, but
true, but
when I eat an avocado, it doesn't upset my gallbladder because it's a natural food and it's so high in fiber,
right,
that my body is like, oh, cool, we know what to do with this.
Exactly.
So eating an avocado is very different than eating a pizza vegan from Whole Foods, but still a little bit different in your system. So
it's easier than eating French fries in your system.
Yeah, so yummy. It's making me hungry.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
I know.
French fries do sound good right now.
Hopefully no one's listening to this in their car. They're going to be at like the next drive-through. Be like, I need a large Coke, supersized fries. Thank you. No, that's it. Because it's vegan. I'm listening to a vegan podcast right now. I've been that vegan, by the way. Like traveling, going to a fast food place and like, can I have French fries and Coke?
Hey, some places.
Judge away. Whatever.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, so all these big changes, and something that I've had to do along the way is give myself a lot of grace, because I start beating myself up over how I'm eating, but then I have to remind myself that, a year from now, looking back, it was 6 weeks of needing to be strong in one change. And then now the next 6 weeks I can be strong in another, and the next, and so sometimes we get so caught up in the day to day and we self-sabotage ourselves because it's not happening faster. And like you were telling me earlier, just focus on today, one day at a time. We get so caught up in goals and long term, and it's really, really easy to self-sabotage ourselves day to day. So if you're making any changes right now, allow yourself to make the change that you feel is most important and give yourself grace on everything else that's going on. And then once you have that under your belt, then you can focus on another change. But don't beat yourself up when you're making a change, like I couldn't beat myself up for having a Coke when I was making sure to not drink alcohol so I could be a healthier and better, person, wife and mom, because I felt that that's a change I needed to make.
Yeah. There's a really good blog I used to read years ago called Zen Habits, and some of you may have heard of it. And it's by Leo Babauta, and he also has 6 kids. And he wrote a book called The Power of Less, and I read that probably whenever it came out 9-10 years ago. I was still in chiropractic school at the time, and he talked about if you want to make changes in your life, just focus on one change for 30 days. So just give yourself 30 days to focus on this one change, make it a habit, which, we always hear that it takes about 21 days for something to become a habit.
Yeah, but I like that better than the 21 days things, because 21 days is usually around when I self-sabotage.
Right. So if it's 21 days to make it a habit, you give yourself 30, then it's set in stone. It's your way of life. And then after the 30 days is up, you don't have to think about it as hard, and then you can focus on the next change you want to make. And so it's just this incremental thing. But after a year, you've made 12 big changes, if that's what your goal is, if you're trying to turn around some things in your life. So that's a good rule of thumb.
I like
to
that.
Go by.
I'm going to even extend it further and say 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because around 3 weeks is when I actually start to self-sabotage. So if I just take it day to day, I think it takes me a good, somewhere between that 30 and 60 days to not have to think about it so much, and it just be a new way of whatever, thinking or eating or, working or whatever it is that you're doing. So basically there's no rule of thumb, and it's not this exact day, whatever works for you, do that.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes big changes, they take a lot of time, especially if they're habitual. I didn't have as much of a struggle with alcohol. I had a really bad experience with vodka about 2 months ago, and I was nauseous for 2 days, and that pretty much did it. That went down on the sake list.
Oh,
I had a very bad experience with sake when I was about 21, 22.
I think I literally had to put you in the car.
Yeah, and I woke up the next morning with literally the worst headache I've ever had in my life. Like, I still remember, I was almost in tears. It was so bad. Woke up at 5:30, just in this horrid pain, put a hot washcloth on my forehead. And
Sake's a sneaky little bitch.
Sake is a bastard.
Yeah.
And sake bombers, that's the problem, is I did 5 sake bombers in about 30 minutes.
That's just
and I was like, oh yeah, I can hold my liquor. And then, an hour later, I'm like,
you literally could not function. Like, your brain shut down, literally shut down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sake is sneaky like that.
I think I nearly died that night.
I don't think I've had sake since that night. I think I had PTSD. PTSD, is how you say it from that? Yeah. I think it was
PSD, post-sake disorder.
Yeah, exactly. Totally.
I just made up a new disease.
Sake disorder. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, I find a lot of solace in coffee and tattoos lately. You notice that some people get to a certain age, like me, and start getting tattoos, like James Hetfield from Metallica, right? Like, he didn't have any.
Yeah, you look at Metallica videos from back in the 80s, those guys had nothing. Like, and most metal guys didn't have any kind of tattoos. And then it's like, now you look at someone like him, and he's completely sleeved, and he's got them on his neck,
and he went through that when he was going through a huge change in his life.
Yeah, like probably in his 30s is when he started getting them.
Yeah, there's something very, very therapeutic about it. It's expressing yourself. They usually have meaning, and especially when you're older, I think they have meaning, and it's just expressive and therapeutic. And it's quite a commitment, obviously.
It's a commitment of a lifetime.
You're not going to see me lasering anything off. Thank you very much.
No. Just get it covered up.
But tattoos is something that I have always wanted to do, but never did because I was afraid of what people would think. And by people, I mean my grandmother. Right? Or, but even so, even more so, we we mentioned, we were Mormon. So being in the church, that's
Mm-hmm.
frowned upon. And
It's not a rule per se, but
No,
it definitely is frowned upon. You have tattoos.
it's highly.
Oh, they
Well,
have
and
tattoos.
not even just having them, but getting them when you're already part. Yeah. So
definitely taboo.
there's that. And so there was that for a while. And like just the family that I come from, no one does, or if they do, they get them places they can hide them. And it was something I always wanted to do, but I never knew what I would want to get permanently and what people would think. And it's kind of scary, to put something permanent on my skin, and would I regret it? And I remember talking to you a few years ago how, I wasn't getting any younger. So I wanted tattoos, and you were still kind of like, I don't know about that, you sure about that? And
I was Mormon in my defense. I was trying to be a good Mormon boy.
Mormon?
When?
You can't use that as an excuse. You just really didn't think I should get them.
Well, it was more because I was Mormon.
No.
Yeah?
No, stop trying to blame it.
I'm going to blame it.
Even before we were Mormon, if I brought up tattoos, you were like, no, you don't want to do that. You sound like your father.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because when I was 16, I really wanted a tattoo of a skull lying in a pool of blood on my right shoulder blade. And I wanted my ear pierced. And I told my dad this at 16. I was like, yeah, I want to get a tattoo and get my ear pierced. He's like, no, you're not going to do that. I was like, yeah, it's my body. I can do it. He's like, well, then don't plan on coming home. And I was like, son of a bitch. Damn it. So I just kind of put it out of my mind. And yeah, this was one of those things.
That you just weren't going to do.
Just didn't think about it for literally years.
I decided I just had to jump in, and once I realized I could put quotes on my body, because I am a quote person. I look at quotes every single day. They help inspire me, and they help me get back to a positive place if I'm having a hard time. That was it. I was totally 1000% jumped in. I can do this. And so that's what I did. My first 2 tattoos were quotes. Anxiety is a liar, which is something I started saying after we had our last baby and started dealing with anxiety. And don't forget to have a good time, which is an important quote to me personally. And as I'm getting my first tattoos, Brandon's sitting there watching, and that was when he decided, well, if she's going to do it.
Yeah, I actually got the inspiration for my first one. And as you were going back there and getting prepped, and then I sat down and drew it out. And for those who don't know, I've actually been drawing my whole life. I actually went to animation school for a little while in my early 20s, so I can actually draw. And so I drew.
Actually, huh?
I actually can actually draw, if you actually believe that. Actually.
Oh man.
But yeah, so I drew it out and gave it to the tattoo artist that I went to, and she kind of made some modifications, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's actually awesome.
It's cool. I have a interesting little mental process I go through when I get tattoos. I get excited. I look forward to it. I go in and get it. I'm getting used to getting them now, so I find a way to cope. Mostly I do breathing and moaning as if I'm having a baby. One time I said to one of my tattoo artists, I was like, just so you know, if you hear me moaning, I'm not being weird in the way you think I'm being weird. I'm just going back to labor and birth. And then that probably sounded really weird, but I had to kind of go back to those breathing through it and just closing my eyes. And I was moaning during my unicorn tattoo because that hurt really bad. On the inside of the forearm is no joke. And so I'm getting used to that. So then I get the tattoo, and then obviously there's endorphins, and it's exciting, and it's beautiful, and it means something, and I love it. And then it starts healing, and I have this day or two where I'm like, what the hell did I do? Like, what? This isn't going to look good. It's not going to look good. It's not going to heal right. And so I have a day of that. Like,
what is the question you ask me after each tattoo?
Yeah, I don't know. What is it?
Do you think I made a mistake?
I have one day where I get worried about how it's healing. And then I have another day where I have a, what the heck did I do? And then I get through those days and I just completely fall in love with them. But it's just this mental.
Or the other question is, do you think it looks trashy?
I do not ask you that.
You have said that a couple times.
You just called me out.
But then,
hold on. I'm making note of this. I'm making note of this call out, and I'm going to get you back later. Go ahead.
But then I'll say sarcastically, well, of course. But trashy is sexy.
I don't even remember asking you that. Did I really?
Yes, you did. You asked me actually after the unicorn tattoo.
After the unicorn tattoo. That was my first big one that wasn't a quote too. Oh, well, I don't think I've asked you that since, have I? I think I got over that. But that might have been the only time. I think so. I had fun with that one. Thank you. And thank you for throwing me under the bus.
I just said you were sexy.
Oh, that makes up for it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to let your man brain think that. Oh, but I have a day of, I don't know if any of you that get tattoos go through that, but I have a day or two where I freak out over the physical healing when it's peeling and kind of itchy. And then I do have a day where mentally I'm like, what in the world was I thinking? And then I just feel like they were always there. They were just part of me all along.
Yeah, they actually do look like they are a part of you. Mm-hmm. You were born to have tattoos.
There we go. I like
that. Born to be tatted up.
Born to be wild.
So what are all the tattoos that you have?
Well, I have Anxiety is a Liar. Don't forget to have a good time. I have a molecule on me, and everyone thinks it's oxytocin at first. And I'm like, girl, please. That is caffeine.
And it's right over the vein, too.
I put it right on the vein on my
the crook of the elbow.
Yeah. But it is literally caffeine that's my coffee tattoo. And then I have Slow Down on my wrist, which I got last year. Was really, really frantic.
Yes.
And I needed the reminder to slow down. And then I have my Poppy tattoo. And I've posted about that, but this is the tattoo for your dad, for my father-in-law, for Poppy. I've known him since I was 19, and he passed away 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like it was that long.
It was over 3 years ago.
Yeah, and he's the first parent figure that we've had pass away like that since your mom.
Yeah.
But your mom passed away years ago.
Yeah.
So I've known your dad a lot longer and a lot better. And
that is true.
Yeah, very long time. And grieving for him has been difficult for us just because our lives have been so chaotic, and we have 6 children, and unfortunately the world and life does not slow down when you lose someone, or when you're grieving, or you're having a hard time.
No, it doesn't.
It really took 2 years for me to finally sit down with you one day and say, we haven't even made space to just not be okay with this. And so we started processing that, and I really wanted, I have never wanted a flower tattoo, but I wanted to get something for him. And I don't like portrait tattoos, so not my jam. So I got this Poppy tattoo, and it's beautiful. And what's interesting too is I didn't think I would like the leaves. I was like, no, I just, the poppy flower is so pretty. And the leaves have turned out to be my favorite part.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get sleeved in leaves on the rest of this arm.
It would be pretty badass.
Yeah, it'd be pretty
neat.
neat.
Leaves too.
Yeah, it's really, really beautiful. It's almost completely healed. This one's taken a while too. My skin is really tough. And then I have my unicorn tattoo. I think everyone expected that, but thought that I would do the unicorn that we use for Find Your Village and Birth That Fear. But I needed it to be different, so that it was just mine. It wasn't related to work. So you and Megan drew out my own unicorn. And of course she has coffee. And then next to her is You Do You Boo. And I got that done in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had contemplated it for a while because it was one of those, I cannot get You Do You Boo tattooed on me. And I was in New Jersey. I was by myself. And it's really hard to travel alone, when I do.
Yeah.
And I had some time one night between Washington, D.C. and New Jersey and events. And I had posted a photo actually on Birth Without Fear of a same-sex couple with their new baby. Beautiful photo.
Oh, yeah.
By Krista Evans Photography, I think, if I'm recalling correctly. And some people, of course, were very rude about it. And then it made me so mad. And that was the last little push I needed. So I was a walk-in. And when I called, I was this girl calling walk-in quote. And I think he thought I was going to get some little tiny Pinteresty tattoo. But I came in and I said, I want You Do You Boo, and you pick the font and the size. And he liked that. So it's bigger than I had planned on, but it's really awesome. And it's next to my unicorn. And this one took me a little longer to fall in love with because I wanted it, but I didn't completely own it for a few weeks. I was, I was a little insecure about it, I think, because I'm human. And now that it's healed and settled in, I think it's really cool and it's meant to be there.
I've always loved it. I think it's awesome.
It's neat. Yeah.
And it's a cool font too.
He designed it on his own, and it's not a font I would have ever picked. So it's kind of neat. And I love the blue color. And I had a great conversation with him. It was really, really cool. It's just what I needed. Again, tattoos are just, there's so much to them. And then I just got the hand tattoo, which I talked about in episode 2.
Yeah.
I call it my self-love generation heart, but my hand is like, what in the world did you just do? So it's going to need a touch up in a few weeks.
Yeah.
It's trying to heal too good, basically. So I have an appointment to go back in at the end of the month and get her touched up, and I love it. It's awesome. I cannot believe that I have a hand tattoo when I think about it logically, but at the same time, it's just meant to be there, and no one thinks it's a tattoo. It's so funny. Yeah. Everyone thinks I've just drawn on my hand. You would think all the other tattoos might give it away. No, she did such a good job, and people think I've drawn or painted on my hand. So true. So I'm gonna let my grandmother believe that when I see her.
Yeah. Those are permanent, are they?
No, Nanny. No, that's a temporary tattoo.
Yeah, it was just highlighter.
Just highlights.
Just
highlighters. It does look like highlighter colors.
It does a little bit. It does.
You
also have don't forget to have a good time tattoo on that wrist as well.
Yeah, it's underneath the unicorn. I kind of have a rainbow arm going and a black and warm color.
Yeah.
Warm color arm going.
Yeah, look awesome.
But these are all the tattoos that I had planned when I started getting tattoos not that long ago. When was it?
November was your
right.
Well, those 2 tattoos you got
right in November, and so these were all the ones that I knew I wanted. So now I kind of get to expand my horizons, and it's my favorite thing to do on Instagram. I just search and explore tattoos.
I do enjoy it myself. Saw it today on the Rocks Instagram. He got his bull tattoo on his right arm turned to this
it's
crazy, massive, awesome tattoo.
3D looking.
Yeah.
He got it done by some tattoo artist that has 1 million followers on Instagram, and he does almost 3D looking tattoos.
It's the reason why he's got 1 million followers.
Yeah, he is amazing. I don't even remember who it was, so you can just go look on the Rock's Instagram, but it's incredible.
Yeah. So
I find it fascinating, the stories behind them. And obviously tattoos have become a little more mainstream with reality TV shows and things, but in social media. But I find them fascinating. I posted on my Facebook page the other day asking for people to share their tattoos and stories behind them, not realizing that it'd be 500 or 600 comments, because I think there's so many of us that really do.
It's awesome.
Yeah. We were at the grocery store today with our 2 girls who are 9 and 8. And I was walking around and people kept staring at my arms because they're really colorful. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm that mom. I'm that mom that's getting sleeved and has these adorable little girls. And
yeah, that's cool.
I'm cool with being that mom.
Yeah.
I really am.
I think you're hot as that mom.
I used to be so afraid when I was younger. And younger meaning in my 20s, and our older kids were younger. And when I wanted tattoos, I would think, oh no, that'll just be such a bad example to them, and I don't want to do that to them. And today I was getting ready in the bathroom, and our youngest, the 2.5-year-old, walked in, grabbed my hand, and said, "Mom, I like your tattoos. Yeah. I like your tattoos. The colors, I like them. Oh!" And she grabbed my other arm. "I love your tattoos." She just thinks they're just great.
She does like the tattoos.
She loves the color. She goes, "Ooh, this one has letters. What does she say? That's R. That's R? Yeah, that's R. That's R?
It's ABCs.
It's AB. Yeah, she'll come to my don't forget to have a good time tattoo and say, "The ABCs tattoo. ABCs." So she loves them. And she's an encourager though anyways. I get dressed. She's like, "Oh, you got dressed? Good job, Mom. Good job." And I'm like, "Thank you. Somebody should be saying good job when I get dressed, right?" Why are we not encouraging ourselves for this? Why are we not saying, Oh, you went pee on the potty? Good job.
Well, next time I'm done with my my bathroom trip in 45 minutes, I'd be like, where's my encouragement? I got it all out.
I know. Can we put like stickers on a sticker chart and give ourselves prizes? Yeah, and you know, that's kind of funny because I was thinking for my next tattoo of getting a gold star, because I feel like, where the hell is my gold star? Like,
That's awesome.
I have grown and created and birthed all these humans and fed them from my breast, from bottles, food. I keep them alive. And I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, and you know, there's always this saying that happens when women have natural births, like, oh, you don't get a gold star. And it's like, why the hell not? Why the hell can I not have a gold star? So I might get a gold star tattoo.
Yeah, seriously.
That might be my next tattoo. Right under you do you, boo.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's the one that I gave you the idea about.
Yeah, and when are you going to draw that for me?
When I remember. So if you remind me this weekend, I'll draw it for you.
Well, yeah, I think maybe I'll get that tattoo a little later on when I can share it with some of our surprises.
Yeah, that's a little bit later. And that's kind of like a whole arm piece.
Yeah, that might go on my upper arm.
Upper arm.
I've only been getting tattoos on the lower half of my arms.
I know I need to catch up with you. You got 8 tattoos. I only have 2.
Yours are big.
Mine are big.
Mm-hmm. You have the shark and mermaid.
I do. I got the shark and mermaid on my right shoulder, upper arm.
Yeah, but what are you going to do with that?
That's going to be pretty cool. Okay, so the shark and mermaid is representative of me in January. Because, well, I've loved sharks since I was a little kid. I think sharks are some of the most amazing creatures, and I wanted a shark tattooed on my body. And
I wouldn't be a shark. I could just eat people that piss me off.
Sharks are actually very calm. And
I would not be a calm shark
as much as people think.
I would be an attackful shark because I'd have a reason to attack people.
Attackful. Go with your words again.
All about the uniquity.
Are we in agreement?
We're in agreement. Continue.
But so it's a shark and mermaid, and so I'm the shark and you are the mermaid.
Yeah, the mermaid's bad ass.
You've had the mermaid nickname at times because you got
She's
the mermaid
awesome.
hair.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, the mermaid's a pretty badass mermaid. She's got a pretty wicked looking trident.
Yeah.
And it's cool the way it's done is that the shark is kind of on the attack with his teeth bared.
On the attack.
The mermaid's got her trident ready for war, but she's also holding back the shark, and I think it's very good representative picture of us. But that's going to be part of an entire sleeve mural that I got planned
for all the kids.
For all the kids, it's going to be kind of a family mural on that arm. It's going to stretch over into my back and the right pectoral muscle, pectoralis major and minor.
Really?
To be exact.
You always have to show off. It's like you went to grad school or something.
Yeah, but it's going to be pretty cool. I got my appointment for September 12th. I'm going to have a big sea dragon. It's going to start. The head's going to be on my tricep, and it's going to coil around down my arm. And on one side of my forearm is going to be a hippocampus, which is like a half horse mermaid type looking creature. Google it on the internet. You'll
Google it.
You'll see what I'm saying. And then the other side of my forearm is going to be a hammerhead shark. And then on the inside of my upper arm, I'm going to do a sea turtle.
For the bull.
Because he loves turtles. He's into Ninja Turtles a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to have... Excuse me. I had a frog in my throat. As my mom would say.
Of course, how would she say it, though?
Brandon, you have a frog in your throat. Clear your throat. Okay, Mom. But anyway, so the sea turtle on the inside of my arm, and then on the back, just above the shark, I'm going to have a manta ray. And then I'm going to have near the mermaid starting on my arm and then crossing into my chest. I thought initially about it being an octopus, but I'm thinking maybe like a squid or a kraken type of creature. I think an octopus
would be cool. I'm still on team octopus.
Yeah, so it's half sea creatures, half real creatures.
One for everyone in the family.
Yeah, one for everyone in the family. So
are you going to do any color, or are you going to keep it all black and gray and shading?
At this point, I like the black and gray. And,
yeah.
And voice is cracking. I'm going through puberty, just in case you guys didn't know. Hi.
I think that might be our cue to get off and get something to eat and get something to drink.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Coffee, tea.
I didn't get to talk about my other tattoo.
Oh.
I got to talk about all yours.
Excuse me.
So I guess you're better than me.
You know that you're going to pay for this later, right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
That's okay. I know how you're going to be.
What other tattoo?
The tattoo on my left arm.
You're doing another one on your left arm?
No, I never mentioned what the tattoo was on my left arm.
I thought there was a tattoo you had planned I didn't know about. Like, I don't remember this conversation. Was that before I stopped drinking wine? Because I don't recall this. Oh, man. No, that's going to be awesome. It's going to be really, really neat. And all the kids are excited about it, too.
Yeah, they are. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a multiple visit mural. So
pretty cool.
Going in for just some line work first.
I think it's really just because you're so competitive and you want to have bigger and more tattoos.
No, it's because you mentioned addiction earlier. I think I am now addicted to the ink. And
isn't that how it goes, though? Once you start, you can't stop.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have a ton.
I know. It's exciting.
It's
fun. We
have a chiropractor friend in California, and he's tatted up and got the gauges in his ear, and he's an amazing chiropractor. And I've always kind of admired his I guess unique sense of style or whatever.
He's an amazing human.
Yeah, he's awesome, dude.
Yeah, he is.
But he is totally tatted up, and I may end up having more tattoos than him.
See, there you go. Back to being competitive.
I'm not being competitive. I'm just saying, like, that's how much I love them. I want them all over my body. So.
All right. So, Mr. Competitive, please tell us about your other tattoo.
I am not being competitive.
You are.
Here. No, I'm not. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say now.
Oh, man. They're like grown man babies. You're going to pout?
I am going to pout. I'm going to stick out my bottom lip.
You're the one that keeps throwing me under the bus.
All right, fine. I'll tell you.
Katie,
thank
you.
Twist my arm.
Uh-huh.
But it's my chiropractic tattoo. And for some reason, it reminds me of my dad's. So, but basically, it's a pair of hands, and they're in a position to give an adjustment the same way I would. They're actually my hands. I had to kind of get my hands in good angles to draw them properly. It was kind of challenging. And there is lightning coming out of the base of one of the hands, and the lightning is encircling the circle and the center of the Vitruvian Man drawing that Leonardo da Vinci did, except the Vitruvian Man is throwing his head back like he's being given life. So
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty.
And we had to cover his penis.
Yeah, so we had lightning wrapping around his mid section, a little bit lower, covering up the junk.
Oh my gosh, you did not just say that. Oh man, it's funny though, because when she draws the tattoos, the mermaid too, they actually aren't covered, because a lot of people don't care about that. But when we go in, we're like, we're gonna need to find a way to cover that. Because,
yeah, I still have little kids, so
yeah, and not like it's anything to be ashamed of, but we don't need to be walking around with a penis and boobies on your on your arms.
We were at a coffee shop one day a few months ago, and this guy just got this naked lady boobs and like spread eagle on his arm, wearing a tank top, and just sitting there looking on his phone. I'm like, holy crap! Like I don't think I could get that on my body.
Yeah, you need like an X-rated warning on that one. Seriously,
look over.
Like,
naked
whoa!
Lady spread eagle on his arm.
I just wanted coffee. I just wanted coffee. Oh my gosh, that's happened to me too at a bookstore one time. Yeah. I was like, whoa. And it was at the coffee shop at the bookstore, actually.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Definitely.
Those are always the funniest.
I need some more tattoo ideas. And I know they'll come to me because I like them having a story or to be something meaningful. But I think the gold star needs to happen.
I think the gold star would be cool.
Mm-hmm. And I go back and forth on back tattoos on what I would want back there. So we'll see what happens.
Well, you got time to think.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the gold star going to go?
I'm thinking underneath You Do You Boo on my arm.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Or my other hand.
The other hand. Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, because I have the heart on one hand, and I kind of wanted something. I just really want to put F off or something on my other hand. So on one hand.
Do it on your fingers.
On one hand, I could be doing like love and peace. On the other hand, I can be like, screw you. Because, there really is many sides to me and how I feel it just depending on what's going on. So
Many
I don't know.
layers.
I think it would be cool to get a tattoo after a while too that symbolizes being sober. You know, I mean, that's it feels foreign to say that word for myself, you know, because it's never anything I've really had to say, but I think I really relate to that now. So, maybe something like that. So I have a few small things, but I'm ready for a couple bigger ones too. So we'll see. There's a tattoo artist in Vegas that I love, and I've reached out to him about doing a shark and mermaid for me on one of my legs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll just see. It's just fun because it's an ongoing thing, you know, depending on where you're at in your life and how you want to express yourself. And it's not something that you have to do all at once. It's something that you can do over time. And my only goal is to be a really rad tattoo grandma.
Yeah.
Yep.
I actually find it to be a very meditative process.
It is.
A tattoo. It's because it is painful. I mean, it's not like it feels very good, but just like, I mean, anything in life worth having is going to involve some kind of pain or sacrifice of some sort. So for me, it's I don't know. It's a way for me to just focus my mind on being calm and getting through it and just dealing with it.
I think you
kind of have to because I had
once they start.
Yeah, the first tattoo was 2.5 hours, and the second one was almost 4 hours. So it's you got to do a little.
You're going to be sitting for a lot longer than that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
you are
the next one. Yeah.
I know for a long time. I know I don't do well past about 2 hours. Usually when they start, my first thought is, "What the hell was I thinking?" And then I just breathe through until it gets to where enough endorphins are released and it gets to the numbing phase.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, okay, cool. I got this. Of course, with my hand one, then we were done. But with but the other ones, yeah. So, no, but it's very therapeutic in a way.
Yeah, I think so.
So coffee, tattoos, and not caring about other people's opinions and expectations.
Yeah. Well, that was last week's, but
I know, but it goes with this too.
Yeah, it's a good lesson for everything.
Mm-hmm. So do you have anything else on your mind when it comes to coffees or tattoos?
Coffee. You know, it's interesting because with coffee, I hated it my whole life. I tried it one time when I was a kid. Tried my mom's coffee, and I just thought it was so horrible. But I think I might have tried it black.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're a kid, black coffee is, you want all the sugar in it. So I never drank it my entire life. And then we were Mormon, so I didn't, I was a good Mormon boy. And then I decided to be a bad Mormon boy, and I had coffee one morning. You had those little Starbucks packs that you bought at the store.
That's when I was hiding it more. I would get the little
Right.
Starbucks instant coffee, and like it was one serving per thing, and you mixed it with. I don't even remember how it worked because I got over that pretty quick. But
yeah,
yes.
yeah, it's got about 30 ingredients in it, so it's not exactly the best thing for your body.
Yeah, probably not.
But yeah, I made one of those one morning. I was kind of tired. I'm like, what the heck? Let me just try it. No one has to know. And I'll have to tell anyone at church. And I did it, and I went into the office, and I had a pretty full morning of patients coming in, and man, I had lots of energy, and it was great. It's like, wow, this is cool. So I did it occasionally, and then we moved to Austin.
I did it.
And
Not I drank coffee or I had coffee. I did it.
I did it.
Like it's some, well, I guess it is a really wonderful legal drug, but
yeah. Actually, caffeine is the most.
I did it a few times.
Caffeine is the most addictive drug in the world.
Yeah, I know. I'm so proud to be part of that group.
But when we moved to Austin, I started drinking all the time. And I learned how to make cold brew.
Yeah.
I had a cold brew coffee at Whole Foods one time, and I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. So I started making that, and then I just got to the point where I was drinking more and more coffee, and it was doing a number on my sleep. So I've had to cut back quite a bit.
Have.
And I would love to have evening coffees like you're having right now. It makes me a little jealous, but I also like to sleep because my body needs sleep. So
are you sure you don't want a little coffee because you're competitive?
No, I don't.
More like jealous.
Yes. I'm probably a little jealous right now. damn you for your coffee. I want some.
That's okay. I'll be damned to hell. I don't care. I'll drive the damn bus.
Damn to hell with all the other heathens.
Like, free coffee on this bus to hell. Cheers. Oh my goodness. So real quick before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's ordered a shirt or lanyard from us recently.
Ah, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This week
thank you very much.
Yeah, this week we had free shipping up because, like we said on our podcast, we just kept it up all week. So we have been getting orders out much more quickly. I think we're actually going to work on them tonight. So yeah. So if you have ordered one, and it's going to be on the way from this week, and if you want to check out what we're talking about because you haven't yet, you can at harshey.blog/store, right? Or self-love generation / or selflovegeneration.com.
Yes.
It really just goes to there.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite are the You Do You Boo unicorn shirt, of course. Obviously, I have it tattooed on my arm.
Yeah.
And the lanyard. And I'm really digging our new Birth Without Fear shirts because the unicorns are on it, which is awesome. The mom and baby, and then the rainbow one with her cake pop and coffee. But I love that we switched it from pregnancy, birth, and motherhood to pregnancy, birth, parenthood. It's more inclusive. And then on the back has options, support, respect. So it's like everything on one shirt.
Yeah.
So Brandon's wearing it right now, actually, and I'm just loving it.
You can see it in January's Instagram story where she took the rude picture of me napping.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't you worry, because there's more of that coming after a few things said today. So
are you going to punish me later?
Be very afraid to fall asleep. That's all I'm saying. I know where you sleep. So thank you for everyone who's ordered a shirt or a lanyard, and I love seeing pictures of you in them. And one of my favorite things lately is so many of you are snapping me on Snapchat. My Snapchat is just January Harshey. While you're listening to the podcast, doing whatever you're doing, laundry or putting the kids to bed, driving, I've gotten all sorts of things, and that is so cool and so fun. And it makes me happy that you're finding any kind of solidarity in our podcast. So thank you.
That is awesome. Yeah. That is very cool. Yeah. And if you like our podcast, definitely subscribe to it.
Yes.
On iTunes or Google Play or Stitcher. And definitely leave us a review and a rating. It would be fantastic.
You guys, when we've had this, like, the most beautiful reviews so far. And just so you know, every time someone leaves a review, Brandon's like, someone else left a review. Here's what it says, and reads it out loud for everyone to hear. So when you leave us a review, just know that's what happens. We get really excited, and Brandon reads it out loud for everyone to hear it. And the kids think it's really cool. So if you have a moment, definitely do that. And know that you're very appreciated.
Yeah, very much so. The kids all cheer when I read them too. Like,
woo-hoo. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for listening, and until next time.
Adios.